Testing 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everybody. Starting in about 20 seconds. Hopefully all the streams hold up today. Although I've not got much hope in that at the minute. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It's Friday, the 10th of October, 2025. If, as I do, believe that November is the top, then we've got 5-6 weeks left, and we're going to talk about that today. Also, we have a jam-packed show. We have a lot of stuff to talk about that we don't normally talk about because it's a Friday. It's a chill day. We're going to go through a lot of different X-Files. We've got news about Wham, which is a gaming project. We're going to be talking about whether the top is already in. We're going to be talking about chasing tornadoes, which I've talked to you about before. We've also got news about Bitcoin. We've got news about CZ. CZ, is he to blame for the end of the alt season? We're going to talk about coins that you should be looking to buy now based on another expert's opinion. I'm going to tell you what I think of those choices. We're going to talk about Plasma. We're going to talk about Polymarket launching its own token. And then we're going to talk about being careful, okay? Because we're at that time of the season where we want to be careful. All of that, and you get to listen to me probably rant a few times today. As we get out of the summer, I get my energy back. I'm like the opposite of a lizard, okay? You put me out in the heat, I die, okay? You put me out in the heat, I wilt. Once the cold nights start to draw in and I'm getting a good 8 or 9 hours beauty sleep, as you can see, by the way, I bought myself a new beard trimmer as well, so now I don't look like a vagrant. I have more energy, and more energy means more rants, and more rants means probably more insights from the inside of this head. I don't know whether you want them or not. But before we begin, this week was momentous for Wolfies. Wolfies is a new NFT project. It launched Tuesday. I don't even know, Wednesday. It literally launched days ago. We've got a quiz night next Wednesday. And we decided, in honor of this incredible pump, because I think the floor has gone from 175 Crow to about 700 Crow in a few days. The hype is real with these things. They've gone from $30 or $40 up to $140, $130. So we're going to have a Wolfies quiz night next Wednesday. And you know what that means? It means none of you are going to know the answers. Okay? Now, we have a winning streak because Hidden Agendas, who's in chat, I think he's been in the top 6 of the last 7 quizzes. KB hasn't been in a single quiz for weeks. Okay, now I put this down to 2 things. Okay, he is Zach Polanski, the head of the Green Party, and he's on Question Time, he's on Newsnight, he's everywhere at the minute. So he's either Zach Polanski, the leader of the Green Party, or he's taking his gains and treating himself to caviar and champagne every Wednesday night. It's one of the two. There is no in between. A few good mornings. Manjeet is in chat. Soul Seeker is here, KB is here, Bullish Bullet is here, Hidden, and Kishan is here. Now we're going to try something different at the very end of this stream. There is a new product launched on YouTube called OG or VIP members, OG members, whatever it might be. So when we get to the end of this stream at 12 o'clock, I'm going to press a button, and in theory, the OGs will still be there, and then everybody else won't be. I've never pressed this magic button before. I don't know what it's going to do, but we're going to give it a go at the end of the show. So we're not going to take away from the streams. We're going to add to the streams, but I'm going to do it if there's people in chat. So he is Zach Polanski. And Kishan is filming. So for those of you who don't know, Kishan is a filmmaker. And Kishan is making a film, a crypto-related film. So he's not watching today. So good luck with the filming. You need to give us an update on how far and how well that filming is going, and also some insights as to who is in it. But I can't wait to see that. That'll be very, very exciting. I suppose we should have some kind of show. The top is in. That's the question today. And by the end of this stream, I am going to tell you that it is absolutely not in, but it is close. And I've got some tweets to talk about. I'm going to show the Bitcoin chart, which I believe the Bitcoin chart I already have up here with my red arrows. Okay, if there's one thing I've learned to use in the last few months, it's red arrows. Okay, and I don't want to say this, and I don't want to give away what I'm going to talk about, but I absolutely called this to the T on Tuesday. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say. You'll find out more later on. But let's go and look at the charts. $121,500 for Bitcoin. Anyone would think that CZ had come in on Christmas Day and stolen all of your presents, okay? We're at $121,500 freedom dollars, $121,500, and people are bearish, okay? We are in neutral on fear and greed. What on earth is wrong with you people? I mean, maybe not these people because you're learned, but crypto Twitter, what's wrong with you? Bitcoin's coming in at 121.5. Ethereum 4,340. Again, what's the issue? We are 3% down on Ethereum. We're 1.5% up on Bitcoin in a week. What's wrong? BNB, I'm going to talk about in a minute because I put a tweet out about that, and I want to make very clear you understand what I'm talking about when I talk about BNB. XRP is back at 281. Again, 275 I think is a good pickup. 250 would be a great pickup on XRP. I don't think we go there. Other people think we do. Solana is 220. Every time we get to 235, we get rejected. Maybe it's not time, and we know it's not time, but I mean, maybe it's not time for Solana. Cardano, however, almost back at 80 cents. Deja vu. Groundhog Day. Chainlink, however, has kind of pretty much stayed the same, $22.50. Again, what's that? 10% below the $25 mark, which I'm expecting it to get to. I think pretty soon we could have another top 10 stablecoin. And I think at some point what we need to do on here is we need to have a toggle to remove stablecoins. I don't want to see top 10 cryptocurrencies made up of Tether, of Circle, of Ethena, of USD1. We've got loads of others down here. I'm sure if I kept scrolling, I could find them. I don't want to see them. They are not a cryptocurrency. They're a stablecoin. Get them out of my face, please. Whoever's in charge of this. I know CoinMarketCap is owned by Binance. So please, just get rid of them. We don't need them. Right, gainers in the last 24 hours. Zcash, I think that's a privacy coin. Litecoin is up at $130. Probably off the news that they're going to get their ETF at some point. Starknet is up as well. I got that airdrop from swapping my Ethereum from proof of work to proof of stake, and I've got a bag of Starknet on a different exchange, which I've done nothing with. But it's going to have to go an awful lot higher than that for me to do anything with it. Near Protocol is up. I don't know what that news is on Near Protocol. $3 for me is shameful. Okay, I do have a bag of Near. I think I bought $700 to $1,000 of Near. If that, I need that to move. That needs to get towards $10. That would give it a $10 billion market cap. And when I say it go near $10, we're not talking about going there and staying there. We're talking about wicking up in the bull run. ETH Classic is up. That's also a sign that the top is in. Anyway, let's move on down. Filecoin is up. A few others are up. Not many to write home about. Losers 00. I think that's a recently launched coin. Mantle is down. That's quite a volatile asset. What has taken an absolute hammering, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, is Aster. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's this bad. It's a profit take. Maybe it's off the news that came out yesterday that we're going to talk about. I don't think Aster is a bad shout at 161. And I did give you 4 picks for last Friday, did I not? World Liberty, Aster, Pump, and Plasma. Okay? Now, markets retraced. All 4 of them have retraced. I am now still dollar cost averaging in. What I'm dollar cost averaging into at the minute is World Liberty Finance, because I think that's got the longest legs. The legs with the most stamina. ASI is down at 48 cents. Another shameful prediction by me. I think that should be $3 to $5 minimum. Don't know why we are so far down. I know it's not alt season yet, but I don't think a 48 cent FET price is good for me. I want it over $1 right now. Maybe $1.10, $1.20. That's where I want it to be. Plasma is down. That's another one of my picks at 72 cents. That's lost 20% in a week. So that was 85 cents when I was telling you that I'm going to start getting that coin. It's down. I am getting a lot of notifications on my phone. And a few others are down. Sonic, I like that project as well. But all in all, mixed bag today. Let's get on with the X-Files. We've got a lot to get through today. We're going to start with Crypto Wendy O. Now, I banned her or blocked her on X for the longest time, and I don't know why. It's probably an accident. Maybe it was about the time when there was the BitBoy fiasco. Maybe I banned her there, I don't know. Super cycle confirmed. Bullish Arthur Hayes says Bitcoin's 4-year cycle may break as new liquidity waves arrives from Fed and China. So, just to let you know, the 4-year cycle broke in 2021, and the 4-year cycle broke in 2017. And now the 4-year cycle is broke in 2025. And Arthur Hayes, remember, he was the guy that sold his ETH, realized or thought he'd made a massive mistake and then bought back in, and then Ethereum retraced down to below where he sold it for in the first place. So just because you are in a suit, in a lovely picture, and he's a very nice guy, by the way, I'm not calling him out, but we've heard this so many times. I talk about this a lot. I'm old, okay? By 2020, we were going to be 8 foot underwater. By 2000, okay, I was going to be swimming around in the sea with sharks, okay? None of that came to pass, okay? We were eating too many burgers. We were all going to die of mad cow disease. That never came to pass. Then the birds were going to come and get us. They never came and got us. Then the pigs were going to get us. Pigs never got us. Then the pangolins were going to get us. Pangolins never got us. So when people tell you things, you don't have to believe them, okay? Just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. Think about why they say, of course he wants it to carry on. I want it to carry on. I'd love for there to be nothing better than a 25-year bull run where Bitcoin goes to $25 million a coin. That's what I want. I also want Santa Claus to come down the chimney and leave me the BMX bike I never got when I was 12 years of age. But it's not going to happen, is it? Because I don't have a chimney. ETF flows. This is an interesting one that I mentioned to you probably Tuesday or Monday. And there's 2 different ones here. There's the Ethereum one and the Bitcoin one. I think this is the Bitcoin one. Okay. Look at the pattern of ETF flows on Bitcoin. And the Ethereum is pretty much the same thing. You pretty much get 7 to 10 green days, and then you get some red days. I said 3, but according to this chart, it's 2. Sue me, okay? So for every 7, let's call it 8 green days, you get 2 red days. So every 2 weeks, there are 2 red days, and every 2 weeks, there are 8 green days. And you can see the cycle of the green bars going up and coming down, and then you see the red wicks, okay? And I said on Monday or Tuesday, we're getting to the end of this latest 2-week cycle, and we are. I think Ethereum is probably going to be the same. Ethereum is a little bit different. There's a lot more green days on there. Red days on there. But you get the idea. There is a pattern to these ETFs, and that pattern is pretty much set in stone. It's been like this for months. I've known about this pattern for at least 6 months. So when we have such a big bullish period of ETF inflows, expect a couple of days of outflows, especially when we go to all-time highs, which is what happened. And then I said, we're going to come down a bit. The ETFs are probably exponentially increasing those pullbacks. Maybe. Now, we're going to move on. There's a lot to talk about today. A lot to talk about. Good morning to you, sir. I hope you are well. Now then, this is something I put out myself last night. Maple Finance, which we only spoke about on Wednesday's stream, the disaster of a stream where nothing worked, everything kept going off. Maple Finance has just hit $10 billion in loans originated. Maple is the foundation for on-chain asset management. Maple Finance is now officially the biggest on-chain asset manager in the world, okay? And every month that goes by, I am happier and happier that we took the decision to be associated with Maple Finance, okay? We did like the concept. We did join them when they were at a $300 or $400 million asset under management. They're now at 4.75 billion assets under management. They've grown a 10x. A lot of the things that we have done, a lot of the seeds that we have sown are not short-term seeds. We worked with WolfSwap because we saw their potential. We worked with Maple because we saw their potential. We work with people that show potential, and massive potential in some instances. So we don't just accept every offer. We have offers every week to partner with people. And don't get me wrong, we don't have tens of offers every week, but we get probably 1 to 2 offers a week. And I can't remember the last time I told you about a new partnership that we've had. We did work with Orbi, we did work with Corgi AI, but they were very strict 1-month deals where we were helping them to promote their new service or competition, wherever else it might be. The rest of them, we've got a stable coin that we've been talking to for months, but we don't like what they want us to do. That's the thing. If somebody says to me, can you go and tell all of your audience to go and buy orange juice? The first question I would ask is why? Why does my audience want to buy orange juice? Why do you guys want to buy orange juice? Not absolutely how much you're going to pay me, which is what everybody else does. There's a difference. And we are happy with 2025. If 2025 ended today, we've had an incredible 2025 because I think we've brought you value, and I think that's important for us. Now, WAM, they are on the BNB chain, so they're already on that chain. They're already on somewhere else as well, and they've just connected up the Kronos chain. Now, we are not partnered with WAM. Again, there's no deal going on here. They're an AI gaming infrastructure company. AI agents, gamers, and developers all meet together. So again, this is bullish for them. Okay, they're not small, they're not huge, they're a decent-sized business. They're going to have multi-chain development. They're already on the BNB chain. They're going to add the Kronos chain. They're in somewhere else as well. And for me, they're on Solana as well. So for me, this is another big move, not just for WAM, but also for the Kronos chain as well. And again, I'm big on the Kronos chain. I'm big on BNB chain. I'm big on Base. I'm big on Solana. Solana I'm massively bullish on. I'm trying to give you a broader picture of crypto rather than just saying Solana is great. Now then, Square Bitcoin. Sellers can instantly convert card sales into Bitcoin. Starting on November the 10th, sellers will be able to accept Bitcoin at point of sale with 0 fees. And I think the fees will only ever end up being something like less than 1%. Now, this was retweeted by Jack Dorsey, of course, from Square. And the reason I'm talking about this is there is a big move in America to basically remove most of the tax hurdles from crypto. And I think if America does that, a lot of other countries are going to follow suit. So I think, although we're not American-centric, you can't ignore them. They do set the playing field when it comes to a lot of stuff like this. And Square has been going for a long time. I don't know who Jessica Lopez is. She must work there. She's the tech policy lead for Blocks. There we go. Anyway. 613 followers. Wow, I thought she was one of the big guys. But anyway, she made a video about it. There's loads of details about this. But basically, this is going to allow people anywhere in the world to accept payment in Bitcoin. And again, I'll go back to what we were talking about on Monday or Tuesday when we were talking about the banks crying about stable coins. They've had 300 to 600 years to do the right thing, and they haven't, and they failed, and I hope they all live to regret that. I don't think we need to get rid of banks, as I said on Monday, Tuesday, but I think they need their what's the word for it? I think they need to be held accountable, probably the nicest way for me to put it, for how they have treated their customers. And that isn't just in America. UK, Europe, Africa, Asia. You can find a country and the banking system there is bent against you. You are kept out of making money, and it's kept for rich people. And if they don't like your business, they don't give you a credit card processing system. Well, that's not their decision, is it? If you're not breaking the law, everybody should have one. And that's, I think, where crypto comes in, and crypto helps. And I'm all for it. Now, I put this out yesterday morning. Basically, BNB was at all-time highs. And I've said, would you leave a party which hasn't started to go to a more exciting party which is nearly over? Stop chasing tokens at all-time highs by selling tokens before alt season. Would I buy BNB at $200 to $600? Yes. Would I buy BNB at $1,300? No. Understand cycles, flows, and narratives, or not. Not financial advice. And this, I don't think, was a bad shout yesterday, because I almost timed the top of BNB before the retracement. It hit 13.23. I put this out at 13.17 pretty much, so I missed it by $6 and change. Now, I don't see the future, but you can see nearly swore then, you can see a coin going parabolic. And what's the one thing you don't do? You don't buy a coin going parabolic. I'd say the same thing, and I have done, about Crow. Crow got to 35 cents. I put out at least 2 or 3 tweets saying, take some profits, take some profits. And guess what? We're back at 19 cents. We've dropped 50%. It isn't about seeing the future. It's about looking at when a coin is blowing up. You don't chase tornadoes, because what happens? They spin you up in the air, and then you land in a farm. Maybe you land on a cow, okay? But something happens and it isn't good for you or the cow. Bear that in mind. I really, really love the tokenomics of BNB. I really love the chain. I love Binance. Binance is doing more volume than anybody else put together. But that doesn't mean you have to be an idiot and follow the cult and start buying a $1,300 BNB. My end of game target is $1,500 to $2,000. I've said this week. So let's say it goes to $1,800 in this bull run. You're going to make 40 to 50% extra. Ethereum, maybe not even 40 to 50% extra. Bitcoin, probably only 20% extra. The time for buying these coins was before October, September, August, July, June. We're in the end game. That's why I'm not really pushing the idea that unless you're holding for the long term, you shouldn't be buying some of these coins. But it doesn't mean I don't like BNB. It means that you're going to buy diminishing returns. It's only going to go on a little bit more. If you asked me when I bought BNB, which I did straight after a live stream that we did a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago, I bought it at $208. Not because I thought it was going to go to $1,200, but because I thought if I'm streaming on Binance, I need to go and buy some BNB. Of course you do. So I went to buy some BNB. And I didn't expect it to do a 6x this bull run, to be honest. I thought it might go to $1,000, but it's exceeded that. The point of the matter is, there's a time and a place to buy something. And that is that. It's like the nightclub. You're in the nightclub. I don't even know if you guys have still got nightclubs. When you go to a nightclub, the golden hour is maybe 10 till 12 in the nightclub. Then it gets to 1:30, and all the good coins have gone, okay? And you're left looking at the coins that are swaying in the corner, like that, right? That's it. That's what you've got left. That's BNB at $1,323. That's just what it is. And it's a great coin. Honestly, is it going to go to $4,000 or $5,000 from here? No, it isn't. It will do in the future, but it's not going to happen this year. So why are you buying it at $1,300? Look in the mirror and say to yourself, I am not going to FOMO into everything that pumps. Look at the coins that have the most potential that are on the retracement. Don't go and buy every coin that's as far away from its all-time highs. Look at the ones that are in the news, but that coin has got a lot longer to go, a lot lower market cap. 100 million lost in 1 hour. Bitcoin drops, sparks rampaging liquidations. Retail traders triggered 700 million crypto liquidations. Bitcoin fell while institutional buying continued at strong levels. On-chain data showed a 4 to 5% activity surge, signaling retail re-entry and profit-taking amid steady ETF inflows. Market dynamics reveal that corporate liquidity influences trends, but retail behavior still drives sharp short-term shifts. Bitcoin causes surprise liquidations. Who's it a surprise to? Who is it a surprise to? Who's written this? Who's written this? Where's the name? Give me the name. Landon Manning. Are you telling me, Landon, that when we break all-time highs, it's a surprise when we fall down a little bit and the longs get liquidated? Is that a surprise? Who's it a surprise to? Who is it a surprise to? It's not a surprise to me. When Bitcoin hit 2 successive all-time highs earlier this week, it caused a little consternation in the community. This took place despite a lack of retail activity, with institutional investors powering the growth. Again, I'm not gonna honor you with any more of your article. We're gonna go to the chart that I drew weeks ago, and then I'm gonna take you to the thing I told you about. Okay, and we're gonna zoom in because this is my moment of glory. Okay, this is my moment of glory. What I want you to do after this stream is go and watch Tuesday. Is it Tuesday or Monday? I want us to come up. We've done brilliantly. We're at an all-time high. I want us to come back down and maybe go to 118 at worst, 120 at best. And then I want us to turn resistance into support before we go back up. And so far, so good. But it doesn't mean this weekend we can't do that. Okay? Which is a possibility. I don't know what I've drawn on the screen. But it is nearly Halloween, so let's just say it's an ogre with layers. We are going to go either like this or like this. We don't have an FOMC meeting till the 29th of October, so that's a few weeks away. Chairman Powell was going to speak yesterday, or was it the day before? Can't remember. And he came on, and it was a pre-record, and he went, local banks are the best banks. We need to keep them alive. We listen to what they have to say. Do I have to say any more? No, goodbye. That was all he said. Okay, you can watch it back. Somebody was doing a live stream. I turned it on. He was dead excited. Chairman Powell said exactly what I've just said and walked off. Okay, it was a nothing. Markets didn't really react. 121.8, happy days. But I love this move. This is lovely. Bitcoin is acting like a grown-up. It's not acting like a spoilt little brat. And a spoilt little brat is something where it does this. It doesn't get what it wants, so it sulks. Okay? Wants to come and play, doesn't get what it wants, it sulks. What I'm hoping for is that it doesn't sulk and come hurtling down too much further. But this is lovely. This is exactly what I wanted to see. This kind of move. Okay? We could, as I've said, be at 136,000 by the end of October. That's only $10,000 more than where we got to here. So I am not saying we're going to put in a 20% move. I'm saying we're going to put in an 8 to 9% move. I'm not being unrealistic when you think that we went down here from 114 to 126. That's a $12,000 move in 5 or 6 days. So if you do another $12,000 move from where we are today, we are at 134,000. So I'm not being wholly unrealistic when I say 136,000. That's what I'd like us to do. But again, nothing is certain. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe we come all the way back down to 114, 116,000. But maybe Bitcoin is acting like a grown-up now, and maybe we're going to have this nice level of support and then move up. Remember all of those times that we were just stuck on different prices, and we couldn't break 118, we couldn't break 118, we couldn't break 118, and guess what? That absolute pain in the backside level is now support. Okay? It's like a really, really stiff cat trap. We can't break it. All right? The poor little cat is cracking its head against that cat flap. And then the cat gets out. And it gets dark, and the cat gets scared because there's foxes hanging around. And now the cat can't get back in the house. Right? So it's now support. We've turned that cat flap from resistance into support. I'm happy with where we are on Bitcoin. I'm happy where we are on Ethereum. Happy with XRP. There aren't that many coins in the top 10 or 15 where the price is too far below where I'd like them to be. Okay? Remember, the last lap of the race, you don't want to be being lapped, but you want to be in the pack. And that's where all of these coins are right now. This is a really good position for us to be in. I will not sell my ETH, Bitcoin, Pro, or Syrup. Somebody is putting messages in chat. Yeah, I can't talk about listings on other exchanges. Good morning, Danny. I hope you are well. Good morning, Tariq. I hope you are well. I was just mentioning then Litecoin is up 10 or 15% today. So I imagine there's going to be ETF news coming out about Litecoin in the next couple of days, maybe early next week. Now then, traders are blaming CZ for ending the BNB meme coin season. Now, CZ wasn't even online yesterday. He was in meetings, but it's still his fault apparently, and it absolutely crushed the BNB market. Somebody put up a kind of a screenshot. 88, 89, 90% down. I recognize some of the coins. Absolute chaos over there. Aster is down at 160 today when it was over $2 not long ago. Absolute chaos. But to blame CZ is a bit disingenuous, because you don't praise him when we go up, but you blame him when we come down. That seems like a very one-sided relationship. And again, I'm not here to defend him. I'm just pointing out the actual hypocrisy of it. What are all of these protesters going to do now? What are they going to protest against? They've got used to not working, but then what they're protesting for happens, and then they don't thank the people who did it. CZ does his best to try and bring countries, not just companies, countries to Web3. He tries his best to onboard small nation states. That's his calling. That's what he's decided to do. And then you're going to blame him because your frog is down 90%. I'm really sorry, but nobody cares about your frog. Okay? And I happen to like your frog, if it's the same kind of frog I like. But you can't blame one person for this. But several crypto influencers who, of course, as you all know, they are the ones that you should listen to. They are the ones you should listen to all the time. Okay? They have blamed him for nuking a long list of meme coins this week after the unveiled BNB chain meme coin launchpad called Memrush. According to some interpretations of the news, meme or Memrush, I don't know what you boomers and you Gen Zs decide to call it, memes. Meme Rush would give users who passed KYC checks the earliest access to buy at the best pre-bonding curve prices. Today, he disclaimed responsibility for being the center of attention in the first place. He declined to correct the record about which groups would have permission to buy via Meme Rush at the lowest market capitalizations. I just tweet normally, he claimed. Any overlap to memes is coincidental, not endorsement. Now, I will say one thing about this, and I was doing a bit of research about it. Has anybody heard of something called a social contract? Okay? If you haven't, I don't blame you. Okay? I'm going to divulge. We got age. We've got 25 minutes yet. A social contract is between a content creator, I hate that term, but a content creator, and you. You Tariq, you KB, you Kishan, you Shantan, you everybody, okay? So that is a non-verbal, non-written social contract. And that social contract is really straightforward. You follow people who you believe are doing things that you want to understand, you want to enjoy, you want to consume. And the person at the other end making the content makes the content based on what you like. Now, CZ cannot turn around and just put, I tweet when I want to tweet, when he has hundreds of thousands of followers who listen to his every word and follow his every word. And I agree, it's a free world. He should be able to say what he wants. But he also has a social contract with the people reading his tweets. The same way that if I watch a crypto channel and all of a sudden they're eating HelloFresh or whatever that food thing is called, and then suddenly they start holding up jugs of HelloFresh smoothies, and then suddenly they've got a HelloFresh cap and a HelloFresh t-shirt, and suddenly all they ever talk about is HelloFresh, you'd stop watching them because that social contract has been broken. And CZ can't get out of that by saying, I just tweet. No, this works both ways. If you want the respect of your audience, if you want the people to believe you and you be a trusted source, you cannot hide behind this. So whereas I am totally on side that you can't blame CZ for your frog going to zero, you also have to expect CZ to hold himself to a standard. And that standard means he has to think about the repercussions about what he tweets. Pavel Durov, the guy who founded Telegram, put out a big long speech today. It's his birthday. He's 41 years of age. I was going to read it on the stream, and I thought it just sounds like a party political broadcast. I'm not going to do that. And basically, in it, he kind of went through that I'm not celebrating my birthday. The world is going to come to an end because free speech is about to be finished. And it was very noble what he said. And he is actually in a position where he can make a difference. CZ is in the same position. He is in a position where he can make a difference. And I don't like anyone who disclaims what they are saying. Oh, I just tweet what I want to say. No, you've got to think about it. It's not fair because there are people new to crypto that will read something you say and go and follow it. Some of his takes, most of his takes are good. Buy Bitcoin and wait. Buy Bitcoin and wait. Buy Bitcoin and wait. I love that mantra that he's got. But come on, don't hide behind this. This was actually the tweet that I saw from this Cashkish. This was the entire market crashing. Now, again, meme coins are going to come back. You've got Binance Alpha. I think it's a great way to tap into that ecosystem. But again, don't blame one man for something going horribly wrong like that. Okay? He didn't physically rug a project. He didn't physically do anything. But what he has to monitor himself with is thinking about the repercussions. Freedom of speech also includes repercussions. You are not free of repercussions of your actions. Okay? You can say what you want. If I went up to a very angry man and said he had very ugly knees, he would probably punch me in the face. Okay? My freedom of speech is the ability to say he has ugly knees. But I am not without repercussions for what I say. Brant identifies XRP as top short candidate amid price slump. XRP's daily chart looks rather precarious for the bulls following the latest price drop. Again, we are hardly down. $2.80, $2.82. We're hardly down. Where does he think we're going to go? The Ripple-linked XRP token has been picked as a top short candidate by prominent commodity trader Peter Brant. Said it's conditional upon the completion of the descending triangle pattern. I love this get out. Okay? It's like the sun is going to rise tomorrow unless it doesn't. Bitcoin is going to go to $150,000 next week. That's my prediction, unless it doesn't. Is it or isn't it? What you talking about? It's like the fear-mongering. If all of the ice melted and all of the ice caps would be underwater, but they haven't, and the chances of it happening are very slim. I don't think that we are going to see a market nuke to the point where selling your XRP today to wait for the nuke to buy back in is going to be worthwhile. I had a good chat with one of my friends on Wednesday about this very, very issue, and he was like, well, when should I sell my Bitcoin? And I said, after I said, it's not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, I said, let's say Bitcoin goes to 160,000 and you sell, because that's the top. What happens if it runs to 180,000 and then retraces to maybe 120, 130,000? You've sold at 160, so you missed the top, but you are up over where it can come back down to. So in theory, you could sell 160 and buy back in at 120. But what happens if you're wrong and I'm wrong? How much extra money are you going to gain from trying to trade Bitcoin? What happens if the strategic Bitcoin reserve is announced on November the 24th, which is the previous all-time high in 2021? What happens if it's announced on November the 24th this year? And then what happens if Bitcoin goes parabolic for 3 months and we get to February, Bitcoin's at $230,000? What are the chances then of it coming that far below 160? Maybe it goes to 150, 140. Is that a risk worth taking when you're holding an asset that you want to hold for the next 10 years? I don't think it is. Not with Bitcoin. Maybe for your altcoins that are going to get absolutely hammered, but will also absolutely pump. Same with XRP. We're at 281. Let's say we go to 250, 240. Okay? We don't have a lot left of this bull run if we go to where we're going to go to. But let's say it goes to 240. It comes down, what's that? 15%. Do you want to take that risk that it drops that amount to then buy at that amount to then watch it go to maybe $5 or $6? Or do you just want to sit on your hands and let the market cycle play out, the flows play out? Because that's exactly what I do. I am not touching any of my major coins. I'm only buying some little alts which I happen to think I've got really good tokenomics. That's all. Everything else, XRP, I have not traded XRP for 2.5 years. I've not traded, I've not traded Cardano. I've got that staked. Ethereum, don't trade Ethereum. Don't really trade Bitcoin. I just dollar cost average in the, interest from different things. I don't play that game of trying to time the top and the bottom. What happens if he is wrong? That lovely looking gentleman there. What happens if he's wrong? Look at the guy we looked at before, Arthur Hayes. Sold his Ethereum at whatever it was, 4,200. Ethereum goes to 4,800. He buys back in, and now it's back at $4,300. Idiot play, lack of conviction. Said it at the time. Doesn't make him a bad man. Doesn't make Arthur Hayes bad. He's done way more than I've ever done. Peter Brandt, probably done way more than I've ever done. The point of the matter is, you don't believe everything everybody ever says, and if you believe in XRP and you think XRP is going to go to $5, you just sit on it and you wait. These people bring fear based on these kind of things. It's going to be the best short option unless this happens, and maybe it doesn't. It's just a massive get out. I don't talk about him very much anymore. Rich Dad Poor Dad, he really boils my urine, because he'll give you a price prediction. Everybody will cover that price prediction. Everybody will cover that price prediction. Oh my God, Rich Dad Poor Dad says the economy is going to crash. He's written another book, buy the book, but he says it's going to crash and Bitcoin's going to go to $300,000 by August 2025. Hasn't happened. Nobody ever calls him out on it. Nobody ever pulls him up on it. And then 3 months later, yeah, we're going to be at $500,000 by December. How do you believe these grifters? Oh, by the way, I've got another book out. I mean, come on. Seriously. Seriously, do people still believe this garbage? Right, let's move on. 11:44. We've still got plenty of time. Best crypto to buy now. Again, these are not my picks. These are just picks from Karim Daniels. So let's see what Karim has had to say. This is October the 10th. which was 7 hours ago, even though I think I got it yesterday. Right. Now, this is always the sponsored link, so we ignore it. You can tell it's a sponsored link because it's absolutely all over the article, so you always ignore this one, okay? If you come to an article that says what are the best coins to buy, and you see stuff like this, it's sponsored. So we ignore that, and we move on. Chainlink holds #1 DeFi development ranking in October. This is true. Sentiment publish this every week on X. Lots of different charts. Chainlink, many of the projects that we like on here are constantly building. Chainlink at $22.50. I have said time and time again, $80 to $100. That is my target. I am not going to guarantee that's going to hit that, but that is my target. From $22 to $25, the move up and back again is doable. Okay? The same with if you look at Crow, for example. 2021, October the 31st, it was 21 cents. November the 24th, it was 96 cents. By December the 2nd, it was 68 cents. Okay? So when I talk about these blow-off tops, we're talking about a very short period of time. 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, very short period of time. Chainlink will probably be back at $30 by January, February time if we have the November, December blow-off top. So I'm not talking about long-term. If you're going to buy it and hold it for the long term, ignore everything and just keep dollar cost averaging in. But I think certainly $25 to $30 in October. I think around that target. That's where I would like it to be. Crow is going to come down before it goes up. Right? Now, what is interesting, because I haven't read this article before, is my long-term target this year for Crow is 60 cents. I don't think it's going to go to $1 or $2.12 like everybody keeps telling you. I think 60 cents is a bloody good target because we're at 20 cents now, a 3x in the blow-off top, absolutely achievable. But we're not going to $2.12. Don't listen to the $2.12 price. It would be great. I would be very, very rich. It's not going to happen, okay? We did get to almost 40 cents. That's a really positive sign for Crow. But I think we're going to come down before we go up. So I don't agree with this one. I think we could see 16, 17 cents. And we're at 20 now. I think we could come down a little bit more before we go up. Oh, that was it. Right, so out of those three, don't go anywhere near that thing. Okay? Nothing's going to do a 2000X for you. Come on. But Chainlink is definitely one I would think is going to seriously move in October. And by seriously move in October, I mean a 15 to 25% move. I think Crow, without any more bullish news, remember there's a Crow ETF on the table, same as Litecoin has got, XRP. There is a Crow ETF on the table. That news could absolutely rip Crow. But I'm trying to base this on non-exclusive, non-singular events. If it goes with the general market, I think we're going to move down a bit more. And then probably by the end of October, I'd like to see us between 22 and 24 cents. And then certainly we've got 60 cents on the table. Absolutely. Crow is a good pick. If you hold Crow and you can get 60 or 70 cents out of Crow, I would absolutely rip your hand off. Right, let's move on. How long do we have left? 11:48. Always trying to keep an eye on time. Solo Sky, I left a message in Telegram. You can go and claim your Q3 rewards from Jupiter today. It came out 2 days ago. I don't think you've read Telegram. Go to jupe.ag and go and claim your Jupe staking rewards. I think I got... How many should I have? I don't know what have I got. I've got 3,600 Jupe, something like that. Maybe more. And I got 180 in the airdrop. So that's about, what, 5%? 6%? I don't know, something like that. It's not a bad return, considering you literally don't have to do anything for it. Right, Plasma struggles to reclaim post-TGE momentum. After a highly successful launch, the XPL token has fallen 50% from its opening week high. I got an airdrop of this on Binance, which was nice, but then I also started to buy it. But I didn't buy it at the high. I waited. I think I was buying it at 90 cents, maybe. The high of 167 is the opening day high. Since that peak, it has struggled 87 cents, 8.7 billion valuation, 47% drop. There is the price action. It's just, this is what coins do. You can go and have a look at Dupe. You can go and have a look at every other coin. You can even consider meme coins. Meme coins have these blow-off tops. But then the question isn't what happens on the left side of the screen, what happens on the right side of the screen. Where is the buy pressure? Okay, look at pump.fun. I crucified it until I think it had bottomed, and I think it did bottom. And then I said, tokenomics at this price now make perfect sense. I'm going to buy pump. That's what I said. World Liberty Finance, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait, I'm going to wait. And I started buying between 18 and 20 cents. It's now at 18 cents, okay? It's not about the left-hand side of that screen in front of you. It's about the right-hand side. What is there that's going to bring the price of this token up? Because this is early season hype followed by the people that have the airdrops dumping and getting out. Now, this is the chart of most coins, whether it be meme coins or recently launched coins. The question is, what drags this or World Liberty Finance or Pump or Dupe or any other coin, what drags them back up from these prices? Okay, and the answer is simply buy pressure. Where does buy pressure come from on these tokens? And if you can't find an answer, then it's not a coin for you. If you go and do research into a project, does it provide utility? Does it provide value for holding that token? Is the company doing buybacks? Is the project generating revenue which it can pay out to you? Are you going to get something extra for holding that token? If none of them are true, you walk away. You walk away. In this instance, this is, I think it's a layer 1. I think I called it a layer 2 of Ethereum, but let's just call it a layer 1, right? This is a tether-backed stablecoin payment processing blockchain. Do you honestly think in this moment in time that this, and by the way, Syrup USDT is on here. The volume is excessive. They've already processed billions through this platform. Key metrics remain strong. That is what you need to understand. Now, if in 3 months' time we get to a point where nobody's using this blockchain, or it loses partnerships or whatever, then it's a different story. It's a different story. But at this moment in time, what you're seeing is early hype falling away. You're seeing the airdrops being sold off. As people see the price come down, people panic. What they do, people will buy pumps and sell dumps. And if I could shake you all, I would. It's the wrong way round. You buy the dumps on coins you have conviction in, and you sell the pumps of anything that you have conviction in that you've made a lot of money out of. Simple. I sold Crow at 36 cents. It's now at 19 cents. Do I believe in the project? Yes, I do. But you can't look a gift horse in the mouth. If you hold a lot of Litecoin, for example, and tomorrow it just rips to $200, I personally would sell some Litecoin and wait for the retracement. Bitcoin has just done exactly what we said it would do. 126,000, came all the way down to 120,000, okay? Bigger market cap, smaller move, still the same point. You sell into the pump and you buy into the dump. It's the wrong way around. If that's one thing you can take away from me, it's that. Now, somebody said the other day, if you make money, you should have a token. And I would have thrown him off the side of a boat. I'd have thrown him off the side of a boat for saying that. Oh my days, not everything needs a token. Okay? Polymarket hints at a native token after cryptic post. It was coming. It was always coming. I'll go back to my Yeezy, whatever he was called, that rapper bloke, what's he called? Kanye West. I told you in February and March, don't buy the token. He didn't launch it till August and then he dumped on you. Don't buy every token. Just because it can have a token doesn't mean you should buy a token. Look at Jurassic Park. Scientists were so busy trying to work out if they could, they didn't think about whether they should. You don't need a token for everything you do. In this instance, however, maybe. I'm not going to be buying this token anyway. Polymarket is the biggest thing on Polygon. It's a predictions market. They tried to ban it in America. They said it was all false when Trump was clearly going to win the election. I was reporting on these things, saying that if you're going to listen to a group of people, it's gamblers, because they kind of get it right quite a lot, especially the bookies. The bookies get it right more than the gamblers, I should say. Bookies had Trump to win. Polymarket had Trump to win. They're the people you should listen to, not straw polls outside blue states. Same in the UK. You're asking people in the UK who you're going to vote for. Everybody's saying reform. But it's because they're asking reform voters. If I went around to the Labour heartland and said, who are you going to vote for? They'd all probably say Labour, or maybe now the Green Party. But you get the idea. If you ask a certain group of people, if you ask people on Twitter, do you think Bitcoin should become the reserve currency of America? I reckon 95% would say yes. But that's because nearly everybody on crypto Twitter is in crypto. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, do you like asking people outside McDonald's, do you like beef burgers? Yeah. It's ridiculous. Let's move on. I think if you got Crow at 15 cents, you got a really good price. That's what I'll say. Definitely. But what I would also do, and I keep saying this, is as we go through this bull run, not all of your coins are going to top out at the same time. Let's take BNB for 1 second. BNB does not have a divine right to go any higher. BNB's all-time high this cycle could be $1,350, and that could be it. I said $1,500 to $2,000. That was my target. We've got within 10% of the bottom of my range, of the all-time high of BNB. Ethereum has nearly put in an all-time high. Bitcoin has put in multiple all-time highs. The newer coins, like Hype, have put in all-time highs, and the majority of the rest haven't and are some distance away. People could very likely rotate their profits from BNB into Sol. That would rip the price of Sol to maybe $350, and it would bring Bitcoin BNB down to maybe $1,000, maybe $900, and then we run out of bull run, and that was it. BNB got to $1,350 in this bull run. Everybody points to the fact it's done an 8x from the bottom, and you're sitting there with your $1,300 BNB going, why is it not at $5,000? Because crypto Cheetara over there told me it was going to $20,000 and it hasn't. Taking profits along the way is never a bad idea. If you own BNB and you bought BNB at $100 and you're 13x up right now, I would be taking profits. Okay? I'm just saying, taking profits does not mean selling your position. 10%, 15%, 20% off the table. And then, let's say you do. And let's say there's a massive market correction. And you can get BNB for $750. You buy it back. Maybe there's another tariff war from Trump that brings us down a bit. Maybe that. But you've got cash on the side. But if you hold BNB, for example, from today all the way up, and you don't sell the top, let's say the top's $1,600. Let's say you don't sell it and you follow it all the way back down. You're going to look at your portfolio from 2025 next year and go, I could have had $100,000. Instead, I've got $60,000 worth of portfolio. And then you spend the next 2 years praying for your portfolio to go back up, which it won't because you're in the bear market. And then suddenly, what happens is BNB runs back up to $1,300 and you sell. and then it runs on to $2,500, and you go, why didn't I just hold it? It's about timing, flows, cycles, everything, okay, and greed. Don't be too greedy. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to go full screen on this. Tectonic, good shout. I put up a list of coins. I'm going to do something which I haven't done before, and one of the things I've talked about before is buying projects on chains that you think are going to do well. So, holding KMNO, holding Dupe, holding Ray, holding Orca, because you think Solana is going to do really well, is a good way of outperforming the chain you're on. So what I mean by that is there's a good chance that Solana goes to $600, let's say $700, and it 3x's from here. There's a really, really, really good chance that Orca, Radium, Jupiter, and KMNO outperform Solana. So if your conviction play is base, having tokens on base like Aero is a really good shout. If your conviction play is BNB, the same thing over there on the BSC chain. So having the best performing tokens on the chain that you've got conviction in is a solid idea, like Tectonic, like Moon, like Push, like FM token, things like that. I get that, and that is a really good strategy. Right, I'm going to go on to talk about this very quickly, and then I'm going to go full screen. Israeli crypto trader stabbed, robbed of $600,000 in violent home invasion indictment. Now, I'm going to go full screen on this because I've talked about this before, and every time I talk about it, I remind you all that I made a video about this. You should not tell anybody how much crypto that you have got. You should not tell anybody how well it has done for you. You should not tell anybody how you hold your crypto. The only people who should know are your wife or husband, and if you're a lot younger, maybe your mum or your dad. Nobody else. Here's a scenario. Your dad goes out for a meal to a restaurant, busy restaurant, and it's a local village, and your dad is with his mates, and your dad is proud of you. So your dad will sit there and say, oh, my son, my daughter, so proud of them. They're in crypto. They've been buying Bitcoin. They've been buying Ethereum. They're doing incredibly well. Probably going to be set for life. Okay? Now, the waiter, the waitress, the tables next around them, the people that your dad is talking to are all hearing that you have a lot of money. The friend of your dad then tells his nefarious brother, Mike's son's done really well in crypto. He's made a lot of money. He's almost able to retire. And then suddenly, it's not your dad's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just people taking advantage of the situation. And you might end up in the back of a car, and you might end up getting kidnapped. And I am not making this stuff up. It happens in France, it happens in the UK, it happens in New York, it happens everywhere, okay? Unless it is your business or your trade or whatever it might be, nobody should know that you've got crypto. And if somebody asks you, you should tell them that you have not done this. Nobody should know you do crypto. Nobody should know. And nobody should know where it is, and nobody should know how much you've got. And keep your lips sealed. If somebody asks you for help, you can say, yeah, I used to do crypto. I still know a lot about it, but I don't really have a lot anymore because, I didn't do very well. But I can help you, right? Fine. Just please, last thing on today, because it's 12:04, do that. Now, I'm going to press a button, and I have a funny feeling that it's going to be me and Danny left in chat. But I'm going to press this button because I want to see how it works. So, thank you for tuning in. I will probably do a stream tomorrow. I don't know what time. I might do a stream on Binance Square. And if I do, I'll probably put it up on YouTube as well. And I don't know who's an OG. So I'm going to press this button and we're going to see what happens. So everybody else who isn't an OG, thank you for watching. I'm going to terminate the stream on Binance Square now, and I'm going to press this button here, and we're going to see what happens. So have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday. Don't forget the Wolfies quiz is next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. The Oracle is streaming tomorrow night. Saturday night he will stream. So take care, and I'm going to press this button. Have a good weekend. Thank you, Shamatu. Right, I'm going to press this now. Let's see what happens. This one. I have no idea. I have no idea who has just gone on there. Let's have a look. Let me have a look. I have no idea who can join. Okay, well, you can try. You can absolutely try. I'm just going to go and check Binance and see if Binance is still working. Because I have no idea. It's just a new button that they've added, which is OG members. So I pressed it, and I was going to do an AMA. I have a funny feeling that the only people that can see it are... Let me just check now. Just checking Binance.